Authorities are now investigating the mass shooting that happened in a military camp in Cagayan de Oro City. 4 soldiers were killed after one of their comrades ran amok. The Philippines and Japan skipped talks on a visiting forces agreement, but one top Philippine official says it may be considered a work in progress for the meantime. And the United States has blacklisted Chinese entities that are supposedly linked to Beijing's aerospace program. This comes after Washington shot down an alleged Chinese surveillance aircraft, which sparked concerns on espionage early this month. Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know to jumpstart your weekend. I'm Riza Diaz. The Commission on Elections is urging Congress to pass a bill that will allow special voting for select groups. Poll Body Chairman George Garcia is pushing to allow early voting for the vulnerable sector. This would work the same way as local absentee voting, wherein voters cast their votes about a week earlier than the actual election day. Garcia is also looking at internet voting for overseas workers. Now, he said this will make voting easier for OFWs since they won't have to line up outside Philippine embassies to participate in the elections. The Philippines and Japan signed over 30 investment deals during President Bongbong Marcos's visit to Tokyo. Mobile journalist Julie Baisa with the report.
35 additional agreements and letters of intent were sealed with Japanese firms on the third day of President Marcos's visit in Japan. These cover the sectors of manufacturing, infrastructure development, energy, transportation, healthcare, and renewable energy. The president assures Japanese businessmen that the Philippines is implementing laws like the Foreign Investment Act that allows ease of doing business for foreigners.
It is our hope that companies such as yours will not only find the Philippines to be an attractive investment destination. We are designing our efforts to encourage you to stay and to find our country to be a place where your businesses will thrive.
Marcos says the Philippines is also smoothing out details for a green lane in involved government agencies to make sure that the processing of permits and documents will be swift. Another business meeting attended by Marcos was the high-power luncheon and networking event organized by the premier Japanese business organizations. Marcos is accompanied by 114 Filipino businessmen in his Japan trip.
Our delegates are also here on a mission to listen, to observe, to learn, and then act on opportunities and new knowledge. I hope that these synergies that we establish with our Japanese partners today will continue to grow.
Meanwhile, various topics were also discussed during Marcos's meeting with Japan Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. The meeting coincided with the 50th anniversary of Japan-ASEAN friendship and cooperation. In the joint statement released by the Japanese embassy, it said both leaders expressed concern over the situation at the East and South China Sea. Although there was no discussion yet of a possible Visiting Forces Agreement or VFA between the Philippines and Japan, as both leaders condemn any form of coercion that could elevate tensions in the territory. Marcos and Kishida though talked about the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. The two leaders agreed that it's unacceptable to use or threaten to use nuclear weapons in such conflicts. Mobile journalist Julie Baiza, We Are One News.
House Speaker Martin Romualdez says that a visiting forces agreement between the Philippines and Japan could still be pursued in the long run. The military deal had not been discussed during the bilateral meeting between President Bongbong Marcos and Japan Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. Speaking to the press on Friday, the House Speaker claimed that VFA talks between the two countries is, quote, a work in progress. Romualdez is part of the President's official delegation in his 5-day visit to Japan. Meanwhile, 5 soldiers were killed in a mass shooting inside a military camp in Cagayan de Oro City. 4th Infantry Division spokesperson Major Francisco Garello Jr. said the incident took place early Saturday morning. The suspect, who is also a military personnel, went to other barracks and opened fire on other soldiers. He was then shot dead by responding officers. The Philippine Army is now investigating the incident. The military also vowed to provide all possible forms of assistance to the families of the victims. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Death toll from the Turkey-Syria earthquake has now surpassed 25,000. In Turkey, one major contributing factor is the failure to enforce modern building codes. The details in this report by the Associated Press.
Görüştüğüm orada mesela inşaatçılar var. Adamlar içeri girip çalışıyor, çıkıyorlar. Diyorlar ki binanın üst tarafı tamam sağlam ama temel çok kötü diyorlar yani. Temel, otopark, direkt zaten orası çökünce bu bina böyle yatmış.
Kadını görmedim. Kadın hastanede telefon açıyor.
Açalım abi.
The United States Department of Commerce has blacklisted 6 Chinese firms in connection to the alleged spy balloon that was shot down last week. The companies that were blacklisted are known to support China's military modernization efforts, particularly its aerospace programs. The firms are now restricted from obtaining U.S. items and technologies without government authorization. For its part, China insisted that the balloon was a civilian weather craft. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 9 in the morning as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.